The next podcast guest is an accomplished speaker, entrepreneur, and business success mentor with over 19 years of success across banking, technology, investments, health and wellness, athletics, and interactive media. As a public speaker, he's the wildly preferred speaker to entrepreneurs and business owners on getting their strategy on track for success and massive growth. Virtualpreneurs, we are excited to have the next speaker of the summit, Lucas Root. Hi, Lucas.
Hi, Ruben. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you also for allocating some of your precious time to be with us in the summit.
My pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this.
Lucas, how's COVID-19 in your area?
It's starting to get bad. I live in San Diego, California. We had our first couple of deaths yesterday, which is scary. I mean, we moved into the entire state of California moved into shelter in place earlier this week, and recommended stay at home was a few weeks before that. And despite having been, I would say, relatively proactive in trying to manage this this pandemic, this disease, we're still seeing a spread of the disease. We're still seeing that people are being deeply affected by it, and a couple of deaths here in San Diego already. So yeah, it's not as bad as the rest of the world yet, but it's getting worse, and I'm worried.
How is your team? How's your team coping up with this COVID-19?
Mostly, we're just scared. We're responding to the marketplace in a general sense in terms of these are the things that are happening, and it's affecting our personal life. However, my team has always been a virtual team.
Oh, nice.
I have one employee that lives in New York City. I have an employee that lives in Tijuana in Mexico. My team is spread out across the country. So my team has worked from home their entire time working with me. And so for that reason, it's not affecting our work life very much.
To provide perspective to things and for people to better understand what you do, can you share to us what's your business? What are your businesses? Because I know you have several.
Yeah, I do have several. The consulting business, that's the one where I'm talking about my team who are all virtual. So I consult with large, strong brands who are deeply focused in their brand and their core strength. And they come to me looking for help either growing their strategic operations or building out a business in a marketplace that they don't have a business in already. So that's my consulting business, and my team's all virtual. I also own a couple of retail businesses. I have a gym, which now has been completely closed. We're not taking any clients at all. The doors are closed. My employees are home. I have a flooring store, right? So hardwood, carpet, flooring, same thing. All my employees are home. We're the storefront is closed. There's a big closed market on it. Yeah, I'm in quite a number of different businesses, and all of them are being affected by COVID.
But the interesting part about you is that all of this business are at some point sustainable on themselves without you on it, right?
Yeah. None of these businesses are local to me. They're all hundreds of miles away. I build out the management structure of my businesses such that I can manage a business in less than 5 hours a week.
Wow, 5 hours a week. How do you do that? Considering that you have so many things in your plate.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm very good at is building structures and systems. And most businesses follow more or less the same structure. They look the same from the bottom up and from the top down. And so I'm good at identifying and building these structures, which means that when I go into a business, I can say, here are the pieces, and every business is different, of course, but here are the pieces in this business where I need to spend some time and some money in order for that business to no longer require an on-site manager all the time.
Mm. Wow, an interesting model. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, in your own opinion, going back to COVID-19, how does COVID-19 pandemic changing the way we're doing business in general?
It's there's a lot going on right now. One of the things that I'm most excited about is that corporate employees are spending all of their work hours at home right now, of course, for good reason. I'm excited about seeing how this is going to change corporate management and the opinions that corporate management have of what's the proper way for an employee to report to work.
Mm-hmm.
Can they do it? To interrupt that thought, I thought that this was going to start happening with the strong growth of offshoring in the early 2000s, where groups of repeatable processes, operations were being moved to India, the Philippines. Of course, you're familiar with this.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to the management here in the United States, and even there in the Philippines and in India, saying, we've gotten to the point where we're good at taking this work away from a desk. And it didn't happen. And I've paid attention to this. I've studied the literature. I have some opinions on this, but that's not what we're talking about today. What I'm really excited about now is, because of the fact that people are required to no longer show up to work, but they're still working, we're seeing management cope with the challenges that they had then 20 years ago. They're being forced to cope with that. And so I'm really excited about seeing how this is going to change corporate work and the corporate work structure, and the openness that corporate management has to working from home. Again, my team in my consulting business is remote 100%.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that you've been implementing this ever since, right? 5 years ago?
Yeah.
You're already working from home. It seems that you're really a subscriber to this idea ever since. What made you think that?
I love working from home.
So what are the advantages of people really working at home for you?
There's a couple of different things. One, a lot of people get lazy when you show up to the office. And I don't mean that in a work form. I mean, you expect the office to provide you with water, you expect the office to provide you with coffee, and they do. And I love this as a perk that the office gives to their employees. But I've never been to an office that provides as high quality water to their employees as I do to myself at home.
True.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. Two, I think that many people are lazy in terms of understanding a structure for themselves to make them deliver high quality productivity. Part of the reason they're lazy is because when you show up to work, work provides that structure for you. And so you don't have to learn how to be good at that. Mm-hmm. When you're at home, you do have to learn. There are lots of distractions. It's super easy for, let's say you get into a deep work groove. Nobody comes by your desk and interrupts you and asks you to go for coffee. So you might work for 2 hours nonstop and forget to drink water. So you're a little bit dehydrated, maybe forget to take a bathroom break. So your body starts to become, let's say, dissatisfied with what you're doing to it.
So it's like working from home is also a test of endurance.
Yeah,
to your
it
persona.
can be. Yeah. It's endurance. It's also, you're forced to create this structure. And so people who are good at creating structure, this is going to create an opportunity for them to realize, hey, you know what? I'm actually good at this. It might help them be more productive at work. It might be more than that. It might be, look, if I'm good at this now, maybe I'd be good at this for other people, right? Maybe a person who works from home today is going to realize that they're management material, or even that they're entrepreneur material.
Mhm. Yeah.
Exciting, right?
Self-discovery. Yeah. Yeah. Now, there are a lot of, I know you have also friends, contacts, relatives who are really affected by this COVID-19. Even you said that some of your business are really shut down.
Yeah.
So, what are the things that you are because this is the thing. The main reason that we really started this summit is that there are a lot of local and small businesses right now affected by this, and at least I'm tapping experts like you to really share something about how they can at least survive, and at some point help this as a benchmark for them to really move forward. For you,
Yeah.
how should startup and local business owners, what should they do to be able to at least survive this time?
Yeah. That's an awesome question. I'm excited about this. And I went through this myself over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Anybody who follows me on social media, or any of your followers who decide they want to start stalking me now, you're going to notice that I've had almost no posts up over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I've been
Yes.
so focused on dealing with this, which is great because it means that I've got recent experience. Um, First, figure out what is your basic cost for your business to keep it running. And that doesn't mean keep the doors open. My doors are all closed, but to keep it running so that when things start to change, you're allowed to start opening the doors, your employees can come back to work, your customers can start showing up under whatever circumstances, right?
Mhm.
When things start to change, you can open the doors. So what's that basic minimal cost? And then you need to protect the money that you have in your business that services that cost no matter what, right? Because if you can't open those doors back up, you're out of business, you're done.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to say, it's hard for me to internalize. Figuring out how long my businesses have to survive before they're done, that wasn't fun. But now that I've done it and I know, now I can start to work with that, right? I can call up my landlords where I have a lease and I can say, listen, if this goes on longer than, let's say, 2 months, the business is done to go out of business. So we need to work something out. Because I know what that cost is, I know how long that is. Now I can have a realistic conversation with my landlords, with my employees, with my vendors and my servicers and my creditors, all of the people with whom I have relationships. I have a very real understanding of how long I'm going to survive on the cash that I have now, me being the business, and what it is that I need them to do in partnership with me. They don't want me to go out of business. They're making money from me, right?
Yeah.
In partnership with me, what I need them to do in order to help me survive so that I can open my doors back up again and get back to normal business. That's number two. Number three, this one hurts. You need to decide who the people are in your business that are core to your success.
Letting go of people, that's really hard.
You may not have to, it depends on how much money you have, but you do need to go through this exercise. Who is core to your success? You need to understand who those people are, just like you need to understand what your basic cost of survival is. Um, and then four, of course, if you have to, you may need to let go of people. I haven't yet, because I don't know how long this COVID-19 pandemic issue will continue to affect my businesses. I do know how long they can stay open without letting go of people,
Mhm.
but I haven't yet let go of people. I am having conversations. I'm talking with a landlord. I'm talking with my vendors, my creditors, my servicers. I'm 100% open with every single one of them and my employees. This is how much time we have.
Mhm.
And all of those people, the stakeholders in my success, all of those people are well aware of what our situation is and are well aware of whether or not they're going to need to play a role in extending that timeline.
So how do you open that conversation? For example, you're talking to your employees. How do you talk to your employees, telling them, "Hey, this is all we've got." Perhaps you
Yes,
can enlighten, yeah.
yes, it's like tearing the Band-Aid off.
Ooh.
Um, and look, it's hard to say, it's hard to do, but everybody in that conversation appreciates you being straightforward and direct. You know, they know I'm not there to take advantage of them. You know, we have a very strong relationship. Some of the employees of my business have been there for longer than I have.
Mhm. Wow,
Yeah.
interesting. Oh.
So, I mean, it's not about, for me, it has never been about, you know, raking in as much profit as I can and running away with it. Certainly, I'm in business to make profit. Everyone is, and you should be.
Mhm.
But that's never been the point. It's about building a strong structure and making sure that everybody in that structure is compensated appropriately.
Mhm.
Me being a part of that, I should be compensated as well. But my employees know how strong the business is. They know what part they play in that, and they know what their compensation should be based on the part that they play.
Mhm. Now, the other thing that I'm meaning to ask to all of the speakers at this event is that how do you um, what would be the productive strategies that they should do for local and small business owners, especially they are really affected right now. They're staying in their homes and they want to become productive. What's your suggestion? How does
Yeah.
Lucas spends his time to be more
Yeah.
productive?
And I'm doing the same thing. So what I'm about to share is actually what I'm doing in my businesses as well.
Mhm.
First, after you know how long you survive and you've identified who your core team is, get them busy building a more complete and more robust picture of what about your business makes you special.
Mhm.
This is key. Many businesses started out by just selling a product. Let's go with my flooring business, for instance.
Mhm.
Let's say, just for example, and this isn't actually how it happened, but it's a better example. Let's say, for example, it was started by somebody who was a floor installer 20 years ago, and he just started selling floors because that's what he knows.
Mhm.
That's great. He built a successful business, but nothing about that's what I know is something that his team can execute. Does that make sense?
What you do is something that's unique to you.
Yes. What makes your business special? And now's the perfect time. Your employees are home. They want to report. They want to keep getting paid. They want to make the business strong because at the end of this, they want to, just like you, return to work and continue to be productive. So
Mhm.
now's the perfect time for your whole team to work together and build an idea, a robust, strong idea of what makes your business special as a team.
Mhm.
Think of
Wow.
this as like, for small businesses, great. Think of this as like going back to startup,
Mhm.
and your core team are the founders. You're all going to down together in a room. Now it's going to be a Zoom meeting because you can't be in the same room.
Yeah.
But you're all going to sit down in a room and you're going to start to hash out what we think we're going to be good at, how we're going to be strong in the market, how we're going to bring products to that the market's going to respond positively to. This is a great time to go right back to those business fundamentals and get super clear and super strong on them. And I'm doing the same thing in my businesses.
As an expert, how would you suggest that they process it? Their unique, uh, what makes their business stand out? How do you process it? Example,
Yeah.
I'm stuck in my house. I don't have a Lucas root mind. How should I hack myself in? Be able to do that.
Um, that's a great question. Um, I have a couple of different structures that I use depending on which business I'm in. Excuse me. Some businesses do really well starting with who their customer is and how they want to be good at serving that customer. And I like that. It's a good model. Some businesses do really well by building their product first and figuring out how they want to serve a customer with that product. Both are great models. Each business leader is going to come to this exercise very differently. And I respect the way that business leaders arrive at this sort of conversation. But at the end of the day, you have to go through this exercise of being very clear on what makes you strong, what makes you good, and how it is that you're going to serve the market. And that, every business is a service business at its core, right? You're either serving a need with a product or you're serving a need with a service, but in either case, you're serving your customer. So you have to get very clear on what that is, either who the customer is and what they need to be served with, or what is the product that you think you're good at making, or service that you think you're good at delivering, and what the customer who wants to buy that looks like, right? You still need to understand that product and that market and help them fit together.
Wow. If you have some more questions on this, I think you need to contact Lucas. He's really good in processing things, and I think they can really benefit if they're really able to identify what is their distinguishing mark, their more or less DNA. Thank you, Lucas, for your time, and I hope the strategies you've shared to us in the summit will be able to help them, our local and small businesses, traverse these hard times. Any last words to our local and small business who's listening right now?
Yeah, and thank you, Ruben. I really appreciate you having me here. I would start with looking at the structures that are going to make you yourself incredibly good at being you yourself, because as a business leader, you need to bring the best you to your business in order to be able to serve your business. And number two, we talked about this already. What's the core team that's going to be great with you? It's a different look at the founder, right? This is your team, but what's that core team that's going to be great with you? And three, what is the core strength of your business? And you bring those three things together, the best you, your core team, and the core strength of your business. And coming out the other side of this, you're going to be in a really strong position.
So being in a strong position would require you to prepare now then.
Yeah, prepare now. For anyone who hasn't already done this.
Thank you very much, Lucas, and looking forward to more conversations with you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ruben.
Bros Entrepreneurs, live the great life.